Welcome to Pod Save America. I'm Jon Favreau.
I'm Jon Lovett.
I'm Dan Pfeiffer.
On today's show, we answer all the questions you asked that aren't too weird, awkward, or annoying in our annual holiday mailbag episode.
Also, that don't require too much preparation.
Yeah, sorry. That's a big one.
And also, our answer can last for 2 weeks.
That's right.
And yes, that's right.
Let's get to the first question, which is from Matthew Kale. What was the most significant political event or story of 2022? Love it? Oh, you want Dan to take it?
Dan, I didn't highlight this one. Want me to think back on a whole year?
I mean, it has to be the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Most political impact, affects the most people's lives, altered the course of the campaign, probably altered the course of politics for years to come.
That was obviously my first thought as well. But then I wanted to think a little bit about it. What about, this could be a runner-up, or it could be, Putin's invasion of Ukraine?
Man, what a fucking godforsaken year this was.
I know. 2022 was right. We've been saying this since 2020 now.
You're saying it's 2017. Yeah, the hits keep coming.
One of these years, we're going to get a good year.
Yeah.
But I think in the United States, certainly, it's Dobbs. Certainly.
Yeah.
And in terms of how it affected politics in the midterm campaign. Globally, we don't have any worldos here, but they might say that it's Putin's invasion of Ukraine, what it's the consequences for energy, for supply chains, for the global economy, for potential nuclear catastrophe. It's a lot.
One possible alternative, the canceling of CNN Plus.
That is a big one.
Which also led to the canceling of Chris Wallace Plus.
We will never know what was on Jake Tapper's bookshelf, a show that got canceled.
Man, that was a real...
Forgot about that. That is up there.
That candle burned bright.
Dobbs, Ukraine, CNN Plus.
That's right.
Twitter user Omnichronic asks, are Democrats learning to campaign on offense instead of from a defensive crouch? 2 examples, Fetterman and Pritzker. They appeared to brush off the crime attacks and media narratives instead of constantly trying to refute them. Or is there just an exception for large men? Dan, you highlighted this one, so you can take this one too.
The answer is yes. I think J.B. Pritzker is great. I'm not sure how many points you get for winning in a plus 20 Democratic state, but if you look across the map, whether it's Warnock or Fetterman or Kelly, even Democrats were on offense. They handled the attacks and they won. And there's been a strategic shift since 2018, I think, certainly since 2016, that hopefully continues forward in the party. And there's some models in some of the campaigns cited here that Democrats can follow going forward.
Yeah, one important part of the model is run against absolute fucking cretinous morons.
Yeah, that helps. Helps a lot. I do think, just reading this question again, they appear to brush off the crime attacks and media narratives instead of constantly trying to refute them. Both of them did refute those attacks, and they did so in smart ways, right? Like Fetterman ran an ad refuting the crime narrative that said he gave a second chance to those who deserve it, right? So he didn't run away from that. Nonviolent offenders, marijuana users. But he also then said in the ad, I voted with law enforcement 90% of the time. J.B. Pritzker, he called a crime ad that was run against him racist because it was showing black men robbing a white woman. But then he also ran an ad that touted his hiring of new police officers. So I think there is a way that Democrats handled, whether it was an attack on crime, on immigration, that wasn't just ignoring it or saying, oh, this doesn't make, or saying like, inflation's in people's minds, or we're not going to pay attention to this. The weaknesses that Democrats might have had, or the attacks that came from Republicans, I think all of the winning candidates, from Warnock to Fetterman to Pritzker to everyone in between, they did a really good job of punching back at the negative attacks, and then also putting forward their own vision and their own attacks on their opponents.
I think what Fetterman did was really interesting because he made a case for compassion. He didn't just say, no, what you're saying about me is completely false. It's not based in reality at all. He said, actually, this is an unfair smear.
Yeah.
But here's why it's okay to think compassionately about people that have been behind bars. Like, here's why it's okay to have been in favor of parole. Like, here's why it's okay to make that part of your values, to make that part of who you are. And I think he was such a strong candidate, and people felt they knew him so well that he was able to do both, which I think was really important.
I think that's exactly right. Fetterman also, and a lot of Democrats also, stated explicitly that they supported funding the police. And where there is a nuanced difference between how this was handled by some in 2020 and how it was handled in 2022 is, in 2020, we denied the attack, making the strategic error to say, a lot of Democrats were, I don't support defunding the police. I don't support defunding the police, which causes voters to say, did you say defunding the police? And in 2022, where they simply either used law enforcement in their ads or said they supported funding the police or putting more cops on the street. But in a context that includes criminal justice reform, police accountability, etc.
There were lots of questions like this one from Jay Smith. Can you explain why the Democrats couldn't get the rail workers sick days? So, for folks who haven't been paying attention to the story, and we have not had a chance to cover this on Pod Save America, so we'll up until now. So the rail workers and the railroads, Biden helped strike a deal between them in September, and there are, I think, 11 unions that represent rail workers. 7 signed off on the deal, 4 did not. There were continued negotiations, and there was the threat of a strike that happened a few weeks ago. So this is what would have happened if the rail workers went on strike and it wasn't resolved. The economy could lose like $2 billion a day. 700,000 jobs a month would have been lost. Plunge the whole country into recession. Chemical plants apparently be the first to shut down. And we count on chemical plants to help us purify the water. So there would have been water issues.
Boy, that's ironic, isn't it?
After a week, there would have been food shortages. So you don't want to strike, right? Now the question is, so there was legislation in Congress to to avert a strike, to basically say that it's illegal to strike, right? It's a pretty intense step. So and basically the legislation was just going to codify the deal that was struck between the unions and the rail industry in September. But many Democrats said we should also add 7 paid sick days, which is really what the workers wanted, as in completely reasonable demand.
Disagree.
So that part passed the House, and a couple Republican senators voted for it in the Senate, but not enough. So they couldn't get the sick days, but they got the rest of the deal. Now, could Biden have said, no, I'm going to demand the 6 days, or I guess the other option is either Biden could have tried to demand that the sick days get included, which he has no power to do because Republican senators wouldn't have voted for it, or Biden could have said, all right, well then let them strike and we won't do the legislation. And then hopefully the rail workers and the railroads would just negotiate amongst themselves. I think probably the Biden administration thought, we don't want to take the chance that there's a strike even for a day or two or a week, because that could devastate the economy. What do you guys think? You guys have any takes on the rail deal?
I think there are 2 things that are true. One, it was under this Senate essentially impossible to get the workers this paid sick leave they need. Yeah. It is also true that more generally, Democrats, particularly Senate Democrats, should be more actively, vocally, and substantively supportive of workers and unions.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think this was every single quote from whether it was Biden or Pelosi or Schumer or whatever else was like, this is something that I don't want to do, but we feel like we're in a pretty extraordinary circumstance right here. And by the way, the unions negotiated this deal in September, and most of them signed off. So I think it sucks. I think it's what the rail workers were asking for was not only completely reasonable, but it's just like the fact that they only have 1 paid sick day right now is insane for the jobs that they do. So it sucks. Twitter user Mint T asks, Senate map in 2024. How can we keep the chamber?
So you light as many candles as you can find.
Do what we've always done. Donate to Joe Manchin. Support him, work for him, volunteer for him. We have to win. If we lose nothing else and nothing else changes, we have to win 2 of the 3 of Montana, West Virginia, and Ohio.
And then hold Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Minnesota.
I mean, easy. It's obvious, right?
Or
Pretty straightforward from here.
And then again, the only the two best flip opportunities, Florida, and Texas with Ted Cruz.
Oh,
So
man.
that's it. That's the map, guys. And you're right. So basically lay off Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, which is tough. The newly independent Kyrsten Sinema.
Yeah.
So you got to win those two races. Help Sherrod Brown and John Tester in their very tough races, and then and hope they get some extremist opponents, and then all the other states, all the senators and all the other states, reelect them. It's a tough one.
It's going to be tough. Yeah. Just got to hope for some. I don't know. I don't even know how to hope for like a national condition that puts that. You know what I mean? Like that we feel like good about the whole map. That's feeling good about the entire map.
Yeah.
Which we have never felt before in our entire fucking lives.
Yes.
I think we can get the House back though.
Yeah.
Okay.
House is very doable in 2024. We're back to the House. We were at the House in 2018, then we moved over to the Senate in 2022. We're back to the House in 2024.
Okay.
You just gotta get New York right, and we're good.
House and the presidency. That's what we're focused on.
Some people show people in New York how to draw a map.
All right, and the most common political question we received was some version of this one from Instagram user Hag Heels. Who are the realistic Democratic frontrunners for 2024? Now, I noticed neither of you cowards highlighted this one in the document, but I did because we pushed off all the Joe Biden 2024 conversations during the midterm. I think Dan wrote a whole box on this one because we shouldn't be talking about this now. We got to focus on the midterms. Well, guess what? The midterms are over,
Can
boys.
we have one fucking
Well,
week?
are you
Oh,
not?
it's
Are you
always,
until
it's always
2023?
another week, right?
Hey,
it's always another
hey,
month.
There's a big state Supreme Court race in Wisconsin.
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
wanna distract from that.
Yeah, we talked to Ben Wickler about it.
Here's-
It is real. April 2023. Get ready.
Look, I feel like
April.
I like to introduce something to all of you, which is the position I will be taking. Look, we've heard of ride or die. I'm ride and die with Biden.
I mean, do you want the answer? The answer is
Sure.
The answer is Joe Biden.
That's the answer to the question: who is the most realistic Democratic frontrunner?
He
for
is
2024?
option
That
A,
is-
B, and C, people. He is running for re-election.
There's the stories about like his campaign team, who's going to be the campaign manager, where it's going to be. It seems like he's moving forward, barring some family conversation over this break that's unexpected, that goes in a way that I think probably even he didn't expect.
Dan, question for you.
Yes.
Do you think the reason, like Minnesota wanted to be one of the first 4 states, do we think that was a little bit of a like, fuck you, Amy Klobuchar, no chance for you. We're not even going to you're going to entertain the long shot idea that you're going to have a good jumping off point.
I don't know whether that was about Klobuchar, but there's no question South Carolina was a strong message to everyone else that if
Yeah.
you want to challenge Joe Biden, which I don't think would happen under any circumstances, you would have to go through the state that he won overwhelmingly. And interestingly enough, the Biden folks have pushed back on criticism of this map from others saying, but it's only for 2024. We can revisit this in 2028, which makes it pretty clear it's a Biden map. But look, everyone who works for Joe Biden thinks he's running for re-election. They are planning his re-election. They are talking to people about his re-election. And also, everyone who's working for all the other people that the person who asked this question would like us to list right now thinks Joe Biden is running for re-election, and they are not doing the things you do when you think you're going to launch a run for presidency in 2 months. They are not recruiting staff. They are not courting donors. They could change. It's up to Joe Biden and Joe Biden and his family, but he is planning on running for re-election, and everyone in the party is assuming that.
Yeah, and to the point about could someone challenge him? Most of the people that could challenge him, first of all, it's like Kamala Harris is not going to challenge him. Pete Buttigieg is not going to challenge him. They both work in the administration. Gavin Newsom has already pinky swore, promised to the White House up and down that he's not going to do it.
His hands are shaking, but he's not going to do it.
Gretchen Whitmer has said absolutely no way. So all of the, like you said, all of the possible challengers have basically already. Even Bernie had said before, if Biden runs, I'm not challenging him.
Man.
So it's ride and or
It's ride and or die.
Riding with Biden.
It's well, it's also yes, it's I understand why none of them wants to challenge and doesn't see a lot of hope in doing so. It also is kind of an implicit acceptance of the Biden argument, which is basically like, hey, the situation today is exactly the same as the one in 2020. And until someone is able to make a better argument for why they are a better general election candidate than Joe Biden, is there anyone that's been able to make an argument that says that they are better? We haven't heard it.
Yeah. So there we go. There we go.
So here we go. And I for one am excited.
Biden Trump, Biden DeSantis. Who knows?
Look, this
Biden Kemp. Possibilities are endless, people.
These are matchups, not tickets, right?
No, yeah, it's
Oh boy. Biden Cinema?
I was
Yeah,
about to
right.
say Biden Cinema.
All right. The presenting sponsor of Pod Save America is Simply Safe Home Security. Here's a question. Who in politics could really use a good night's sleep this holiday season?
Well, those members of they're about to put out their report. They decided to put it out basically on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah, the January 6th committee. They
Yeah.
probably could use a good sleep.
They thought the best was New Year's Eve not available. It's the time to release this thing. Anyway, they're tired. Get some sleep.
Sounds like they could use a Simply Safe system.
You bet.
With advanced security technology backed by 24/7 professional monitoring, Simply Safe's there to dispatch help when you need it most, so you can sleep sounder at night. Here's why we love Simply Safe. They were named the best home security system of 2022 by U.S. News & World Report, a third year in a row. In an emergency, 24/7 professional monitoring agents use Fast Protect technology exclusively from Simply Safe to capture critical evidence and verify the threat is real, so you can get priority police response. Simply Safe is whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and out, smarter ways to detect motion that alert you only when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. John, you have Simply Safe.
You bet I do. I set up a Simply Safe system, and I really like it. The base station, the number pad, and all the sensors were really easy to set up. And once it was set up, completely reliable. And the app is great. It's the best of those apps.
Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/crooked. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off your order with interactive monitoring. That's simplysafe.com/crooked. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Pod Save America is brought to you by the ACLU. When people's rights are under attack, the ACLU shows up in the courts, in the streets, and in the halls of power. This year, the ACLU community has been working tirelessly for civil liberties across the country, from fighting to secure abortion rights in Michigan, to helping protect the right to vote in Georgia and Pennsylvania, defending trans youth and their families from political attacks in Arkansas and Texas, blocking censorship in Florida's college classrooms, and so much more. All this critical work is made possible by millions of dedicated ACLU members. Join them by donating at aclu.org/crooked. If you donate by December 31st, your gift will be matched dollar for dollar, doubling your impact. The ACLU has shown up for over 100 years to defend everyone's civil rights and liberties, and they will continue to show up when it matters most and every day after that. So join the fight by becoming an ACLU member. Donate today at aclu.org/crooked. Pod Save America is brought to you by Smile Actives. Are you self-conscious about your smile due to stains? Are your teeth aging you? Popular food and drinks are known to stain teeth. Beverages like coffee and wine stain them over time. So what can you do to brighten your smile? Well, you should give Smile Actives a try. It's safe, effective, easy to use, and will keep you smiling proudly. Getting your teeth whitened, it can be annoying. You have to make an appointment at the dentist. It's expensive.
Huge pain.
And it hurts. It's actually a literal pain.
Strips are annoying.
Smile Actives is great. I just used it last night. I used it this morning. You put some toothpaste on your toothbrush, and then you just squirt in a little Smile Actives as well. And then you brush your teeth, and that's it. Smile Actives offers a safe and affordable alternative to those expensive whitening procedures. It's been formulated with polyclean technology to boost stain removal and deliver active whitening ingredients into teeth grooves and crannies to get better whitening. It's the whitening boost your favorite toothpaste needs to give you the smile you deserve. 97% of Smile Actives users in a clinical trial reported up to 6 shades whiter on average, all within 30 days. Visit smileactives.com/crooked today to receive our special buy one, get one free offer. We got a BOGO. And free
Hey
shipping
guys, we got a
and
BOGO.
handling.
There's a BOGO on our hands.
That's smileactives.com/crooked. Pod Save America is brought to you by Squarespace. We often refer to the past as simpler times. But was it really? Before the internet, how did people find customers for a new business? Did they print out hundreds of flyers and leave them to be forgotten in the corners of cafes and lampposts?
How sad is that?
The internet makes that a lot easier, but more specifically, Squarespace makes all aspects of building a brand and growing a business online possible, all with one service. They would like us to share an example of how having our own website has helped us grow our own careers. I mean,
Come on, we couldn't.
Famously.
Yeah, none of this would be here
Without the internet.
without the internet. None of it.
What else would we be doing?
Where would we be putting our podcasts?
Where would our takes go?
It'd just be, I guess, radio.
Radio takes, written takes. Oof.
Ra-
Written
imagine
takes on
that.
paper.
I stopped writing things down. My career took off like a rocket ship.
Right at the same time, Squarespace came into our lives.
You bet.
In addition to providing the tools you need to actually share your products and information, Squarespace Analytics allows you to use insights to grow your business and learn where your site visits and sales are coming from. This way, you can analyze which channels are most effective, improve your website, and build a marketing strategy based on your laptop keywords or most popular products and content. If you want to start an online store, a blog, or get your educational videos out to the masses, Squarespace will help you grow thanks to tools like email campaigns, SEO features, and scheduling forms. Head to squarespace.com/crooked for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use promo code CROOKED to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, some fun stuff. Audrey O'Connor asks, what would be the better Christmas gift? Trump indicted by Garland or Clarence Thomas retiring?
This is easy. Come
Easy.
on, people. Get him off the fucking court. Guys.
Yeah.
I'm troubled by this question.
Me too.
And I'm troubled. I hope that no one else thinks that Trump being indicted is some like magic thing that like gets Trump out of our lives. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Just think about listen. Where do you think Hitler wrote that fucking book?
Okay.
Wasn't at home.
Whenever you raise Hitler comparisons, famously goes well.
Excuse me. At some point, it has to be allowed. Got Nazis running around Mar-a-Lago.
Over here.
I'll put on a fucking ski mask and I'll blow your mind.
Oh, that would have been so funny. It would have been so funny for you to do this episode in a ski mask.
Didn't think of it till now. Fuck.
Yeah,
I mean, ultimately, this is the marshmallow test for Resistance Twitter. Obviously, it is.
Yes. Clarence Thomas retires. We finally, one of the worst Supreme Court justices in history, we replace with Biden. Joe Biden would get to replace that person. Yeah, that's the better
Naomi
Christmas.
Biden.
With Kirsten Sinema.
Trump gets indicted and then runs for president anyway. Come on. Okay, I'm glad we just covered that. All right, there were a lot of White Lotus questions that we will not answer because we are A, recording this before the finale, B, we don't want to spoil anything, and C, we'd also have to be insane to answer what White Lotus character each of us is.
Really? I actually thought that was a good one.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay, who you got then?
Let's keep moving.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. But Becky asked what I think is a safe one. How do you like this season of White Lotus compared to the last? And it is still hard because we're recording this before the finale, so we haven't seen the finale yet. The finale, I guess, could upend everything.
Our views.
Yeah.
This season, I love White Lotus. This season has been riveting.
Riveting.
So
That's what
riveting.
That was my word.
It's riveting.
That is what I thought.
And the first season was it was like this. It was shot during the pandemic, so it was really small, and you just like felt that smallness. It was really intimate.
Yeah.
And this is such a bigger season. It's just more like it's more exciting in a lot of ways. It's just like a bigger world, and I just the first season was so good and was so interesting, and there hadn't been a show like it. And this is like everything that you loved about the first season, but the stakes feel higher and the
more drama, more anxiety.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Dan?
almost knowing how the first season ended and what was at the core of it makes this more exciting because you didn't really know what was going to happen the first time or what it meant.
That's
it's
true.
great. And this is an incredible feat to pull this off the second time around because the thought was the first season seemed so great because no one ever done anything like this on television before. So now you're just going to do it again and do it better. And look, HBO has never screwed up a finale of a major show before, so I'm sure this is going to be great.
They land every plane. They're beautiful. They're incredible. Incredible pilots over there.
I can't wait to find out that the person in the ocean is Bran.
Spoiler!
It was Bran all along.
All right, Laris asks, what's everybody's favorite Taylor Swift song?
So I've said Exile for a long time.
Yeah, I know you're an Exile
I
fan.
love the song Exile. It was on repeat for me when it came out. But Antiheroes Rising for me. I really love that song. I love that song. I think it's I like the writing. I think it's like one of her best written songs.
Dan?
As you know, as I revealed a few weeks ago on our last mailbag, I'm very new to the Taylor Swift thing, so I
Yeah,
really have
no, I
a
know.
limited catalog. But the song that is most... So everything I have is from this album, mostly because I have not yet followed your instructions to listen to all the other albums. But the song that is played in my house the most of all is Welcome to New York, because it's the one Kyla loves and insists we play all the time.
That is one of the favorites of
Yeah,
the youngins. I gotta go with 10 Minute All Too Well.
10 Minute All Too
10
Well.
Minute
look
All
at
Too
that.
Well. It's
Taylor's
a
version.
feat. It's a feat. Watch it, and she performs on Saturday Night Live. It's something. Sarah Skiwara asks, who was on your Spotify Wrapped top 5?
Everyone's going to say all 5? We're all going to say all 5.
Sure.
Okay. I'll go first. I don't mind.
I don't love it, but
Here we go. All right. I'll go 5 to 1.
okay.
Number 5, Orville Peck.
Okay.
A gay kind of country guy.
Cool.
Number 4, I'll be honest, this isn't reflective. This is because I listen to one song.
I do the same thing.
I listen to one song so often that this band that I don't really know very much about rocketed up the charts. It's a band called Saint Motel that has a song called Happy Accident that I listen to a million times in a row for some reason.
I have one of those this year too.
Number 3, Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus, that live album is so good as long as you skip the parts where she does some spoken word, and that is unbearable. It's like she does one of the best covers of Like a Prayer of all time.
Yeah, she does. It's a
and
great-
then she
it's a
says,
great
"Let me
cover.
tell you the meaning of this. Every
no.
person is a person," and it's
Oh,
like, get me
no.
out of this. Number 2, Muna. You'll find out soon. It's not reached the straits yet. And then number 1, Taylor Swift. Number 1 this year.
Same for me.
Wow.
Number 1, Taylor Swift. Billie Eilish. The Anxiety, which is the song.
Boy, that is fucking on brand.
I know. No, there's a song Meet Me at Our Spot, which I listened to a million times. And then rounding out the list, Blippi and Encanto.
Yeah, sure. I think there should be a way. I think there should be a button you press that just says like almost like incognito mode for Spotify. Like, don't track this. What I'm doing right now is not for you.
We don't
Okay.
talk about Bruno. A lot of play on my phone this year.
All right, number 1, Kendrick Lamar. Number 2, Vince Staples. Number 3, Pusha T. Number 4, the Jolly Pops, who sing a song called Popsicles, which we listen to on repeat on the way to school and home every day for 6 months.
Okay.
And coming in at number 5, it's something I'm not proud of and really has not aged well. This is why I haven't shared my Spotify.
Wow. What's it gonna be?
Kanye West.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, what are you going to
Honestly,
do?
there was like 7 names it could have been.
Jordan Peterson. All right. Now that we did that, Russ asks, what
we did
video
that.
games is Lovett planning on tearing into over the holiday break? Callisto Protocol, maybe? Would love to see him play a horror game on Twitch.
I want you to know
Barely
something.
understood that.
I want you to know something. It was this very question. That got me excited. You reminded me that this is something that I could do for the entire break, and I now will because of this question. So I still have to go back. I gave up on Elden Ring. It was a busy time, and I got into it, then I fell out of it, and it's a game you need to focus on. So I'm going to play Elden Ring beginning to end, and I also need some other recommendations. So send me recommendations. I loved Hades. I loved Returnal. I'm sure I'm going to love Elden Ring. You know I love the Soulsborne games. Hit me with some recommendations. But Elden Ring is number 1. I'm going to play it all. I'm going to finally play it. Maybe I'll stream it, you know?
Wow.
It's called, it'll be...
Something to look forward to, everyone.
Yeah, including me. It's just go to at lonely lovett _ sad and alone on Twitch, and you'll find me there.
Seems
You'll
like
find me there.
Seems like a long handle.
Friday night, Saturday night.
Okay. Cinti Diaz asks, what non-crooked pods are you listening to? I got Ultra, the Rachel Maddow podcast, which is fantastic. We talked about before. On with Kara Swisher, the Ezra Klein Show, Hacks on Tap, The Watch from The Ringer, which does been doing great White Lotus recaps and a whole bunch of other shows. Andy Greenwald and Chris Ryan. And every single album, which is also on The Ringer. They do pop album reviews, which is really great. And I just started The Prince, which is about President Xi. It's an economist podcast. It's very, very good.
That is fake. There's not a chance you listened to
I was looking at the top podcast list because
Come on.
Mother Country Radicals made it, and number one was The Prince, and I was like, what's this all about? So then I started listening to it on the way home yesterday, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm into this. This is good.
For me, I love the podcast Unexplainable on Vox. They're just great looks at hard to answer or impossible to answer questions. And, I'm just going to say, Ezra Klein puts together a great podcast.
He does.
He does. I don't particularly like it when he says this episode is a gift. It's like, Ezra, don't tell.
Also, only one of them can be a gift. You can't have.
There are so many
you can't
gifts.
have multiple gifts.
It's like this conversation's a gift. That conversation's a gift. And sometimes it's like what this philosopher tells us about trees has a lot to teach us about politics. You're like, I don't know. But I love it.
But this was a compliment.
But I love it.
Overall,
I
it was
love
a
it.
compliment,
But
yeah.
I love it.
Dan?
The Watch, as John mentioned from The Ringer. The Right's Ricky Sanchez, a Sixers podcast, which has helped me get through this miserable Sixers season. Hard Fork, which is the new tech podcast on the New York Times from Kevin Roos and Casey Newton that is very good. I really like Recode Media, Peter Kafka's tech and media podcast. And then a bunch of sports podcasts like The Low Post, The Mismatch, The Mina Kimes Show, and a whole bunch of fantasy football ones until this season is over.
Great. Pod Save America is brought to you by GiveWell. Many of us open our hearts and make donations during the holiday season, but when you donate, how can you feel confident that your donations are really making a big impact? You could do weeks of research to find charities, figure out what they do, how effective they are, and how the charity might use additional money, or you could visit givewell.org. There, you'll find free research and recommendations about the charities that can save or improve lives the most per dollar. GiveWell spends over 30,000 hours each year researching charitable organizations and only directs funding to a few of the highest impact, evidence-based opportunities that they've found. Over 100,000 donors have used GiveWell to donate more than $1 billion. Rigorous evidence suggests that these donations will save over 150,000 lives and improve the lives of millions more. And using GiveWell's research is free. GiveWell wants as many donors as possible to make informed decisions about high-impact giving. They publish all their research and recommendations on their site for free, no sign-up required. They allocate your tax-deductible donation to the charity or fund you choose without taking a cut. We love GiveWell.
Huge fans.
They help you find the right charities. Their approach is easy, makes a lot of sense, and you know you're donating to a good charitable organization because they do the research. If you've never donated to GiveWell's recommended charities before, you can have your donation matched up to $100 before the end of the year or as long as matching funds last. To claim your match, go to givewell.org and pick podcast and enter Pod Save America at checkout. Make sure they know that you heard about GiveWell from Pod Save America to get your donation matched. Pod Save America is brought to you by Noom. There are so many different reasons to lose weight, like having more energy or keeping up with your kids. When we decide to lose weight, it's usually not just about the number on the scale. Whatever your reason, Noom Weight is ready to help. Noom Weight uses psychology to help you understand your eating habits and learn how to make healthier choices every day. To date, Noom Weight has helped more than 4.6 million people lose weight. Its flexible program focuses on progress instead of perfection. You don't have to give up carbs or anything. Choose your level of support from 5-minute daily check-ins to personal coaching. Active first-time Noomers lose an average of 15 pounds in 16 weeks, and 95% of customers say Noom Weight is a good long-term solution. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom Weight's psychology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com/crooked. That's NOOM.com/crooked to sign up for your trial today and check out Noom's first ever book, The New Mindset, a deep dive into the psychology of behavior change, available for pre-order wherever books are sold. Pod Save America is brought to you by Aura. We all do a lot to keep ourselves and our family safe. We wear our seatbelts when we drive, we replace the batteries on our smoke detectors when they beep, and we lock our front door when we leave the house or go to bed. But what do we do to keep ourselves safe online? The answer for most people is nothing. That's why we're excited to partner with Aura. Aura is on a mission to create a safer internet, and for Aura, that not only means creating the best security products, it means making it so easy you actually use it. Quickly know if someone has attempted to use your identity or credit without your permission with alerts to your app, phone, or email, up to 4 times faster than competitors. Also, Aura doesn't just catch threats, they help you resolve them. With 24/7 US-based support and dedicated resolution agents, Aura's team will be there for you to resolve fraud issues, even if it means getting on a 3-way call with your bank at midnight. And with Aura, the price you pay when you sign up is the price you pay when you renew. They won't raise your prices in year 2, hoping you won't notice. Aura is committed to providing the very best service, and that means transparent pricing so plans stay affordable and you stay protected. Now, for a limited time, Aura is offering our listeners a 14-day trial, plus a check of your data to see if you've already been part of a data breach, all for free when you visit aura.com/crooked. Go to aura.com/crooked and sign up for a 14-day free trial and see if you've already been part of a data breach for free. That's aura.com/crooked. Certain terms apply. See site for details. Aura is the new standard in digital safety. Heather Asher asks, what's your pre-podcast routine, i.e. the hour or so leading up to it? Love it. Why don't you kick us off?
So my alarm goes off. What day is it? What time is it? I shake off the Ativan. Just got to shake it off. I check to see if there's a new message box to find out if I'm going to be able to crib what's on message box. What do you do?
I finished figuring out what clips we're going to play, updating the question. I take notes for myself. I keep up with other breaking news. I caffeinate myself, and then I over-caffeinate myself. Then I drive to the office.
We've been up for 5 hours. We've read all the news. We've had all the takes.
Yeah.
What do we
Dan
do for that last hour before we record at 10?
Dan and I start texting each other at 5 a.m.
My boys are
Sometimes I
early risers.
miss the window, and my caffeine runs out before the podcast starts.
That's
Those are hard
why
ones.
usually it's a morning coffee. I walk to Starbucks at 5 a.m. and then when I drive to the office, sometimes I stop at Starbucks again on the way to the office. Or now I've been getting Dunkin' too, which is great.
Do you know that people make coffee at home? I just found out about this.
I know.
I know, but I couldn't believe
such
it.
a bore though. Then I don't get to walk.
But I
want to take a walk.
But I just don't understand,
Like crisp air.
how? Like, it requires everywhere. It's a whole building they use to
Do you
make the
think
coffee.
there are some people who make coffee at home that they might buy from a podcast company with branded coffee?
But that's where I found out about it, because people were talking about this cookie coffee, and I was like, you can do that at home? You mean you bring the beans to Starbucks and hand and say, do something with these?
I'm in my home quite enough, thank you.
You know, we were young
I live
men
in
when
LA, but I live in walking distance to a Starbucks, so I'm going to take advantage.
We were young men when we started this podcast, waking up at 8, 7.
I
Not
know,
anymore.
I was going to say.
Keeps getting earlier
Getting
and earlier.
rough, getting rough. All right, Instagram user. Dan, did you do? You didn't really do your hour before. What do you got?
That's it.
That's
read
it.
The
There's
news.
the
I
five.
read the news and I text with you, and then we talk into a microphone about the things we texted about.
Dan looks in the mirror and he just screams at the top of his lungs. He hits himself in the face.
I tap the sign above my office that says "Pod like a champion" today.
Instagram user Horner Caitlin asks, on any given day, how many dogs can be found in the Crooked office?
It's a menagerie. I mean, it's 6, 7 dogs.
Sometimes more dogs than employees.
Yeah. Yeah, the dogs are also on a hybrid schedule. And both the dogs and the staff have trouble counting to 3.
I think we're at like 3 or 4 on an average day.
On an average day, it's true. Pundit's here almost every day.
Lucinda's our new CEO. Her dog Augie is here almost
Which is
every
basically a horse.
single.
One of the biggest
like
dogs
140 pounds.
one of the biggest, sweetest dogs I've ever seen in my life. Human eyes in that skull.
Just a wonderful dog. Leo and Luca don't really come anymore.
No.
But then everyone on the other side of the office, a bunch of dogs over there. We have so many dogs here that once, this was pre-pandemic, once there was a dog that just walked into my office and Lovett offices and Tommy's office, and we're like, whose dog is that? And we found out it was a dog that belonged to no one in the company. There was an office across the hall from us, and it just wandered
in.
It just wandered in.
There's Iggy. There's Bruce. So many dogs.
Yeah, Sarah, our COO, had to drop an office dog policy a couple years back.
Yeah. And then we punched it up. It was a little too... Wizard used to come in a lot.
She's like, I wasn't asking for edits.
This isn't funny.
Jesse Speaks asks, is Lovett right about LA having the best bagels?
Listen, I mean, Dan's San Francisco and Jon doesn't deal with carbs anymore. But
trying to get back into carbs.
Yeah,
that's for the resolutions podcast.
Look, here's the thing. I'm a New Yorker by birth and constitution, and it doesn't bring me any pleasure to say that a Courage bagel beats every bagel in New York City. It's just the reality of our situation.
Wow.
Okay.
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 Speaking of food, Instagram user Crochet Anything asks, go-to airport food? Bloody Mary?
Yeah, yours like Bloody Mary and a Xanax.
And then I'm in the place that I'm flying to.
And then I've arrived. We were on a flight. We were on a flight once.
See me on a plane, say hi.
Yeah, he won't remember. We were on a plane once, and Jon slept through a full-blown TikTok-worthy confrontation.
That's right.
He was fully passed out. There was seat switching. There was two people brought on board. There was a flight attendant saying, "You're welcome to get off." There was recrimination. There was another person brought in. He missed the whole thing. Tommy and I had to tell him about it later.
I had a great flight. We were going on vacation. We were not. It was not a work flight. Work flights are a little different.
Are they? Okay. Who are you saying that for?
I'm trying to prep for the live show. That's what happens on the work flight. Prep for the live show. All right. What about you guys? Go to airport food. Yours is something fried, I'm sure.
Look, here's the thing. I love a morning Sbarro slice. I know it's disgusting.
Oh my
I
God.
do. I really do.
Holy shit.
I love a slice of Sbarro pizza in the morning. Perfect. Especially because usually in the morning they're right out of the oven. They haven't been sitting there all day. They're fresh. It's 10 a.m. Nobody's eating this pizza yet. It's just me. It's just for me.
Dan?
I'd say two things. One, if there's a Chili's at an airport, you will find me at that Chili's.
Same.
Two, the Dulles Airport, the United Terminal Dulles Airport, which I have spent way too much time in recent years, is a food desert. It is terrible. It is hard to find food there, except for one loophole. By the D gates, there's a Potbelly's. And that Potbelly's serves the full menu starting at 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. So why get a fattening breakfast sandwich when you can get the wreck?
We flew Dulles on our most recent trip to D.C. Man, that fucking airport. Whew. Don't miss that.
And I remember going out with you the night before, and so I imagine you would have enjoyed that Potbelly's had you known about it.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was two times D.C. ago.
Yes.
Yeah, that was tough.
I'm trying to think of what other go-tos, but that's
Very hungover.
I'm always happy to see Sbarros. I know it's sick, but it is true.
Legal seafoods in Logan.
There's also illegal seafoods. Wait, is there one at DCA now? Am I imagining that?
I think is it
DC
a Legal Seafoods or McCormick and Schmidt's?
I don't know.
I don't know. Same.
Any kind of seafood restaurant at an airport.
Who decided what's a
Fresh
morning
seafood
food?
at an airport? Absolutely.
I don't accept this idea. Look, it's time we put aside this bygone notion that there's breakfast food and dinner food and lunch
Especially
food.
in an airport where time doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like
It's a
inside an
casino.
airport in a Vegas casino. Exactly. Yeah. Time doesn't matter.
Eggs are for breakfast? Why? Whose rule is that? Not mine.
Elliot Schneier asks, if you had to move to another country, not just for a while, immigrate, where and why?
So it's a practical issue for me in that I don't pick up languages. I've struggled my whole life. I was socially passed through Spanish in middle school and high school. So it does have to be in, a UK, in Australia, that's a Canada. I'm just limited. I'm just not going to pick it up.
You can't Rosetta Stone this once you get there.
I won't.
Or on your way. I don't know how under what circumstances you're leaving.
Yeah, they're urgent. I'll say that.
Dan?
Am I fleeing prosecution, or do I have to work? So
Is it non-extradition?
There's no larger context here.
Yes, if I'm not fleeing prosecution, I am happily going to Canada. You get NBA basketball. You're not that far away. You don't have to pick up a language. The Canadians seem very nice.
I'm going to the Netherlands.
Huh.
I'm going to go live in Amsterdam. That's it. I've been there a bunch. Like after we left the White House, I was like asked to speak there, and then for some reason it's the only place I was asked to speak outside the country, and they would like keep asking me back, and so I'd like go every year for a couple of years. And just first of all, they speak Dutch obviously, but there's a lot of English. It's a very cosmopolitan city, so there's a lot of languages, but plenty of English there, so that's fine. And it's a beautiful place, very walkable. They have like bike paths. It's great. I'm all in on Netherlands.
And once again, I'm going to thank the Tourism Bureau of the Netherlands for sponsoring this podcast. You can also get mushrooms at bars.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Finally, Sarah Sains asks, what organizations would you suggest people support as holiday gifts to others? Our friend Jose Andres runs a World Central Kitchen, which is helping to feed people all over the world. Right now, they're doing a ton of really great work in Ukraine. but they are everywhere there is a disaster or a war or any kind of conflict, World Central Kitchen is there, and they do an incredible job. So that's mine.
We always give, you're in the Bay Area, to the Bay Area Crisis Nursery, which you can donate money and give toys and gifts and diapers and things to fit new families in need. That's where we give money. Also, Heifer International is something our kids often give to other kids. Our parents did it. It's also another great organization.
We raise money for them with our Pride Show this year, but support the Trans Lifeline. They do really good work and are there for trans people in their moments of most urgent need. So support Trans Lifeline.
That's great. All right, everyone. That's all the questions we got. That's all the questions we're answering.
Yeah, we got a lot of others that we're not answering.
Everyone have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you soon. Check out Crooked's fantastic new podcast, Radio Lingo, that looks at the ways language plays a role in our lives, from swearing to subtitles and everything in between. And if you haven't yet, highly recommend you binge listen to Mother Country Radicals, a personal, politically charged account of a counterculture group of young activists. That's such a funny way to describe it.
Didn't they blow stuff up? Counterculture, yeah, very counter. Counterculture, counter foundations, counter
Here's the thing.
doors and windows.
Mother Country Radicals is one of my favorite podcasts we've done at Crooked. It just won at Tribeca. It's one of Vulture's top 10 podcasts of 2022. It is about a group of revolutionaries in the late 60s, known as the Weather Underground, for anyone who paid attention to the 2008 campaign about Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn. It's fantastic, and you should listen to it over the holidays if you can. And you can listen to Radio Lingo, also, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, before we start, wanted to say thank you to everyone who stepped up in 2022. Through Vote Save America, you helped raise over $5.6 million and fill over 46,000 shifts, which contributed to winning 52 races, from Senate to House to governors to secretaries of state, attorney generals, and more. Head to votesaveamerica.com, not to donate, just to see all the work you've done.
Yeah, just take a victory lap.
We're going to have a full recap there, and you can just sort of bask in it. It's really nice. We got more work to do, so stay tuned for more ways to get involved in the new year. But for now, rest up, and happy holidays from everyone at Vote Save America.